Hi everyone, I'm Danny Lacey and this is the Diary of an Entrepreneur, episode 5, cash flow, constantly kicking you in the beep, in the butt. Cash flow is oxygen. It is the thing that will bring the good times, it's the thing that will bring the bad times, it's the thing that will bring you stress every month, if not every day, if not every minute of your business. So be prepared for that and do not bury your head in the sand when it comes to cash flow. You need to know the exact state of your business with its finances day in, day out. Checking your bank balance, for, your business account daily, if not twice a day, to make sure you know exactly how much is in there. Being realistic with your figures, don't fudge the figures, the sales figures coming in and the projections of how much you're going to be spending in any particular month. Cash flow is the oxygen of your business. Again, it'll create the good times, but it will also create the bad times, and it can kill a business. And it's the one thing that a lot of business owners can overlook or ignore. If I close my eyes, it's fine, a miracle will happen, and suddenly £10,000 will appear from nowhere, which means I can cover the wages this month and pay my suppliers. It doesn't happen like that. You need to be constantly ahead of the game when it comes to cash flow. Knowing your numbers is going to be massively, massively important. You need a spreadsheet. You need to have a cash flow spreadsheet with sales and expenditure, and then the calculations at the bottom that lets you know how much profit you're making. Broken up into columns of months, and each month needs 2 columns. On one side you got the forecast, and on the other side the actual. And then what you're doing is you're projecting 12 months worth of figures, sales and expenditure, and then every month without fail you take your bank statement, you go through the bank statement, and then you add all the transactions onto the cash flow and then compare it to the forecast, constantly tweaking that cash flow day in, day out. And it might take you a year or two before you find the rhythm of your business, the rhythm of your business sales. So it enables you to project more accurately and always project worst case scenario. Don't get too fancy with the figures. It looks great on the cash flow to put hundreds and hundreds of thousands in there and extra noughts, but it's not going to do you any favors. You need to do a realistic cash flow so you can project properly when it comes to running your business. So know what those expenditures are, know what the rent's going to be, the utility bills, the salaries, the bank charges, travel expenses, etc., etc., etc. So have a cash flow spreadsheet. It's an essential part of the business. If you don't have it, then you don't have a true representation of how your business is projected to perform versus how it's actually performing. Always project 12 months in advance, but tweak as you go along, and as a separate spreadsheet, have a 3-month revenue projector as well. So have the next 3 months on a spreadsheet with the name of the clients that are definitely going to be paying. So you're doing the jobs, you've already invoiced, that money's coming in, it's banked, it's on its way, and you know when it's due to land, so that you can see the next 3 months worth of revenue coming into the business, and then you can see any potential issues. Borrowing is not the devil. I don't advise you go out there and get yourself up to your eyeballs in debt with bank loans and borrowing from your family, etc., etc. But at the same time, if you're an offensive entrepreneur who's going all into building a business, you're going to need some additional finances at some point, unless you are loaded and unless you've got huge amounts of sales coming in from the early days. You're going to need something. I'd start with an overdraft facility. So get to the banks early, talk to them about what facilities are available and that whole kind of application process and your credit ratings, etc., etc., etc. But talk to the banks early, start off with the overdraft. And avoid borrowing if possible. All right, just to kind of caveat what I've just said, avoid borrowing at all if possible. But there may come a time when you need to borrow, and make sure that you are borrowing for the growth of the business and not for vanity. All right, a new bit of technology might have come out which would look nice in the office, and therefore your first instinct is to get a 10 grand loan to get that latest computer in or that latest camera or whatever it might be. But it's not actually going to be useful in the growth of your business. So whatever you're investing in and lending for, make sure that it is going to be directly affecting the growth of the business, making sure it's an income generating item. So, marketing tools or more sales tools and assets, covering your cash flow expenses. Don't go out there and take on loads, a fantastic fancy new office facility and borrow against that. It's counterproductive. If you haven't got the revenue coming in and the sales coming in to be able to afford that, you shouldn't really be doing that. So make sure that when you are borrowing, it is for the growth of the business and it has direct effect on income as opposed to a vanity item. Cash flow is a monthly dance, and you're going to have to get used to that dance, because most businesses will struggle with cash flow, and it's all relative. It doesn't matter if your company's earning millions, hundreds of thousands, or just hundreds. There is going to be a dance-off every month when it comes to cash flow. So you need to get on top of invoicing. You need to make sure that the minute somebody signs on the dotted lines that you have the payment terms already sorted, those invoices out there, you have a process in place, you're recording what's been invoiced. Don't leave it on the back burner. Don't think, oh, it's something I'll do at the end of the month, it's fine. The minute you can the minute an invoice is supposed to be, get it sent out. Don't dilly-dally around. Get that invoice sent out. Chase outstanding invoices constantly. The more you pester somebody who owes you money at the end of the day, you've done the work, you've delivered on brief, they now owe you the cash, but they're being a bit awkward. And trust me, 50-60% of your clients will be awkward and they will be bad payers in some form or another. It's your job to chase them down, keep at them, and eventually they will pay. If you can, get deposits up front. One of the big things I learned in my business is to get a 50% deposit up front before we start any work, and then get the balance on delivery with most of our clients. We do have clients that we've worked with consistently now and regularly, and they're all on 30-day terms, and we trust that they're going to pay. But with new clients that you've never worked before and that aren't necessarily reputable companies or our big brand companies, then make sure you get them on deposit terms up front, and the rest on delivery of the product or the service that you are doing. Talk to them about retainer deals, but whatever you do, really, really important to get those terms of payment sorted up front. Get a contract of sorts. It can be a bog standard contract with a digital signature at the end. Get that agreed up front before you do any work, because if you don't have that in place before, you're going to have very few legs to stand on should you get to that moment where you're kind of chasing and then you're having to kind of go to court over things or doing whatever. Just get the terms and conditions in there early days. And the cash flow dance-off is all about money coming in versus money going out and the timings of those. You can have a load of money coming in, but in 1 month, nothing going out in that month. But then there'll be months where there's more going out than there is coming in, and you need to kind of choreograph that dance. And that could be, again, going back to the getting the deposits in early doors, so the money's coming in quicker, but making sure the money's going out slightly slower. So negotiate terms with suppliers as well. Try and get those 30-day terms with your suppliers. If you know you're going to have a crappy month coming up, then make sure that you're in touch with the suppliers and make sure that they know that you're going to be late paying. Don't just ignore them. Don't just close your eyes and think they'll be fine if you're 7, 15, 20 days late. Let them know up front, and with your projections, you should know that you're going to have a bad month coming up, and be in touch with them, because 9 out of 10 of them will listen and will be understanding and will be happy with that as long as you're in touch with them and you're honest with them. Don't bury your head in the sand. That is the worst thing you can do. And getting good terms and good relationships with your suppliers can help through difficult cash flow months. Very important. Also, know the difference between sales figures, cash flow, and your profit and loss. Sales figures. A client agrees to a service or product, it's a thumbs up, and they sign on the dotted line, but it could be months before that money hits the bank. If it's a big project that needs doing, you might get a bit of a deposit and payment sporadically throughout, but it could take forever to get in. So don't get carried away with the sales that has been made. You might have made £100,000 worth of sales in 1 month, but you might not get that £100,000 for another 6 months. So just be wary of that. Cash flow is what's happening right now. It's what's coming into the bank and going out to the bank right this second, right at this moment in time. And it's a true reflection of how your company is performing and its solvency or insolvency at the moment. Then there's a profit and loss document. Very, very important, and again, often overlooked. Is your company actually making money on the services that you're providing and the products that you are selling? Okay? Is there a profit margin between sales and expenditure? And you need to know those figures. It's really, really important. If you don't, you could end up in trouble in 6 months' time, and you could end up out of business for that slight oversight. Hope you found that useful. Please do share with like-minded individuals, anybody else who's interested in business and setting up their own business. And do leave me your comments at facebook.com/Danny Lacey Business. And remember, failing every day is a massive part of your journey. Thank you for watching.